Hey there, I'm waiting for something to train, so I thought I would try and just knock this one out if I can get it done quickly. If I can't get it done quickly, then I'm probably going to need to abandon it and pick it back up later. But let's do it. Rope bridge creek, not sure whole rhythm is for your weight. These 40 is fine. Bridge chance of gorge, step, CD, rope switch and twist, modeling rope physics. Consider a rope with a knot at each end. These knots mark the head and the tail of the rope. If the head moves far enough away from the tail is poured to the head. Due to demonstration involving plank length, you should be able to model so not a two-dimensional grid. Find a hypothetical series of motions. Here you can turn the tail and move. To the aforementioned plank length, the rope must be quite short. In fact, the head and tail must always be touching. Diagonally adjacent and overlapping, even counting as touching. If the head is ever 2 steps directly above, up, down, left, right, tail must also move 1 step in that direction so it remains close enough. Otherwise, if the head and tail aren't touching and aren't in the same order column, the tail always moves 1 step diagonally to catch up. Okay, you just need to work out where the tail goes as the head follows a series of motion. Assume the head and tail both start at the same position overlapping. For example, R4, U4 moves the head right 4 steps and then up 4 steps and left 3 steps and down 1 step. After each step, you need to update the position of the tail. So the step means the head is no longer adjacent to the tail. Visually, these motions are as follows. TS, S marks the starting position, H, T. H goes up, that's fine. Positions. The tail visited at least once in this diagram. S again marks the starting position and all the difference. How many positions does the tail of the rope visit at least once? Okay, that seems reasonable enough. So I'm typing, name tuple. I'm going to use name tuples today because from data classes import data class. And why am I going to do that? Because I want to do this and be able to destructure it. And you can destructure name tuples. Okay. Class rope. And head, which is a point. And tail, which is a point. Okay. And now, and a rope always starts with the head and the tail at 0, 0. Is that true? I believe that's what it said. So if that's the case, I don't actually want a data class. I want data class. Can I do a constructor or not? I don't know if I can do a constructor. Oh, I can just do head point equals 0.00 and tail point equals point. I think I can just do that, and that should work. Okay, good. And now let me go back and look at how this works. So let's say, let me just stick this here, raw equals this. Okay, good. So right for, and what I want to do is self and direction, which is a string. Okay. And these are all wrong. If direction equals u, and so let's say hx, hy equals self.head, and tx, ty, good, okay? So if direction is up, self.hy plus equals 1, Otherwise, if direction is down, self.hy minus equals 1. Otherwise, if direction is left, left, self.hx minus equals 1. Otherwise, if direction is right, self.hx plus equals 1. Okay? Except this is going to, okay, so I don't want to do points. So hx and equals, I'm just going to go back because this is turning out to be too much of a hassle. Hy and equals 0, tx and equals 0, ty and equals 0. Good. So now up, down, left, right. That's good. And then let's say move head, self dot move tail. Okay, and then move tail self dx equals self dot hx minus self dot tx, and dy equals self dot hy minus self dot ty. Okay, and so if dx match dx dy, this is probably a bad idea, but case 0, 0 pass, self.ty minus equals 1, self.ty, so case 0d, self.ty, what is this? Plus equals d, case d0, self.tx plus equals d. So if it's like 1, 0, 1, then add 1 if it's 0 minus 1. And then otherwise, they're both non-zero. So case does Python have a SIGIN? Let's see if it does. It does not, but come on, seriously, Python SIGIN. It doesn't have one. Okay, well, let us define that. Def SIGIN n int. All right, that works. So except I don't trust this. If n equals 0, return 0. Elif n bigger than 0, return 1. Elif n is less than 0, return -1. Else raise value error. Okay, good enough. Otherwise, self.tx plus equals SIGIN dx, self.ty plus equals SIGIN dy. Okay, and I'll call this run self instructions.string for instruction in instructions dot split lines direction distance equals instruction dot split for blank self dot move head direction. So that looks right too. And then let's just say print self. Okay, and now let us say rope equals rope, rope dot run raw, and then print rope. So let us do this. Run, and I may have read the instructions wrong, so that's okay. So we go, so I did read the instructions wrong because it should not move at the first point. If the head is ever 2 steps, the tail must also move 1 step. Okay, so I got the logic very wrong. Case case 01, pass case if abs dx plus abs dy is less than or equal to 1, return. Otherwise, so now and actually I think I can just do this because now if one of them is 0, then it'll just not change. So let's run it again and see what happens. Okay, 1 0 0 0 2 0 1 0 3 0 drags. Now I go over to the side and I drag you diagonally. That sounds good. And what do I want to keep track of? I want to keep track of visited, the tail. How many positions? Okay, visited equals zeros equals self dot tx self dot ty. So move head direction, visited add self dot t, return len visited. Okay. So now that says this should be 13 if I do it. Oh, print rope.run. Okay. It says 16. Okay, so I did something wrong. So let us think about this. And let me okay, print self. Okay, let's run it again. So we've got 0 0. Then again it's at 0 0. Then tail goes to 1 0. Then tail goes to 2 0. Then tail goes to 3 0. Then okay, so that is so it's not supposed to move in that case. So again, I read the instructions wrong. must be touching. So, okay, so this should be, um, if this should really be this, if abs dx is less than 1 and abs dy is less than 1. So, then they're touching. So let's try this again and see if that works better. 13. Okay, good. So I think that was the problem. So now let us get the input and try it. Okay. With open j09.text as f, raw equals f.read, rope equals a new rope, print rope.run raw, and I'm just going to say assert that this equals 13. And now let's run it. 5858. So let's try that. That's the right answer. Again. Okay, a rope snaps. So only the bridge rotated closer. The bridge is still there. So the rope is now moving toward you. The rope is going to click yellow. Rather than 2 knots, now you must simulate a rope consisting of 10 knots. 1 knot is still the head of the rope. It moves according to the series of motions. Each knot further down the rope follows the knot in front of it using the same rules as before. Using the same series of motions developed as example with the knots march H1, the motions now occur as follows. Now you need to keep track of the positions the new tail visits. In this example, the tail never moves, and so it only visits one position. However, be careful, more types of motion are possible than before. Okay, so I am going to create a new class because this is a longer rope. So I'm going to call it a long rope, and it's not going to be a data class anymore. Init self len int equals 10. I'm not going to call this len. That's a stupid, that's a reserved word. And self.wise equals 0 for in range n. Okay. And let me just keep track of n as well. Self.n equals n. Okay. Okay, so dot x is 0, self dot y is 0, self dot this should be y's. Self dot x is 0 plus equals 1, and self dot move tail starting at 1. Okay, self let me call this I don't like that name, but that's okay. And so if I equals self.n return, okay, good. So that means that we're past the end. Dx equals self.x is I minus 1 minus self x is I. Okay, that's right. Dy equals that as well. If abs dy, now I don't want to return. I just want to pass. And then otherwise, self dot x is I plus equals sig dx, self dot x is I plus equals sig dy, and now I need to self dot move tail I plus 1. Okay, so self dot x is minus 1, because I want to keep track of the last one. Self dot y is minus 1. Instructions, split line, direction distance for the self dot move head direction, visited add, self dot x is minus 1, self dot y is minus 1. Okay, and so now what I want to do is I want to say long rope equals long rope of size 2, and make sure that I get the same result when I do this, which I should because it's the same logic. No. Okay. So let's say long rope. Seriously, that's the bad part about not having data class. Self. Sure, why not? 2, 6. So now let's do this and let's do this and see what it's doing. Okay, well, it's definitely not doing the right thing because what did I get wrong? So I moved the 1, 0. It stays the same. That's fine. I moved the 2, 1. So I'm going to go right 4. So this should go all the way up to 4 without ever changing this. So let's think. Let's think about what I've done wrong. Self.y 0, down, self.y 0, left, self.x is 0, right, self.move tail, self I, self dx equals self.x is dx. Let's try this one more time. Okay, move head, long rope, move tail, long rope 1, move tail, long rope 2, so that should be fine. Right to, let me put this here though, so that I don't have to see it. Okay, so it's not doing the right thing here. What it's doing is it's updating the wrong thing. So what is it doing? It should be doing that. Okay, so I just wrote X as when I should have written Y. That was stupid, but and let's comment that out as well. Actually, I feel like it's still doing the wrong thing. So let me Move head long rope 2 0 1 0. Oh, because these are 3 0 2 0. I'm reading it wrong. I was reading this as the points 4 3, not as the points. So this is really 4 2 4 1. And then I go to 4 3, which takes me to 4 2, 4 4, which takes me to 4 3, and so on. Okay, so I think that's doing the right thing. What's happening here? Okay, so now let us do um, long rope equals long rope 10, and then do that. And I think 10 is what they said, right? Um, yeah. All right, let's try it and see if I got it right. 2602. That's the right answer. Okay, good. So this was complicated by a couple of things. One is that I read the problem wrong, or I didn't read it carefully enough, and so I got the logic wrong for move tail. Like once you get the logic right, move tail is, it's 5 lines of code. So not 5, 7, whatever. So that's fine. And then yeah, and then the second thing is just doing an extension. This is maybe not the best way. Maybe I should have kept it as a, maybe what I should have done is self dot points equals 0, 0 for something like that. That might have been better, but I didn't do it that way. So um, and then again, it's basically the exact same logic. But now when you call move tail, you have to say which tail you're moving, and you just keep going. And I guess I should have called it move not or something. And then I made a dumb mistake where I didn't increment the right one of these. But anyway, nothing like super complicated going on here again. So um, the moral of the story is read things more carefully than I did, and you will make fewer mistakes than I did. All right. So I will see you at some point over the weekend, I guess. Cool.